Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is 6 Feet from Stardom. Thanks for joining us. 1, 2, 3, and 4. This is the show where we feature local talent from Toronto. We talk a bit, we play a bit, see what it's like to be a working musician. And our very first guest on our very first show ever, and maybe last show, who knows, is a Winnipeg native I know very well. He's a good friend of mine. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing on tenor saxophone, Paul Metcalfe, everybody. Paul Metcalfe. All right. That's our theme song, everybody, because we have a theme song, and we're gonna say bye to Rich and Jeff for a minute, and I'm gonna talk to my friend Paul.
Hey.
So just bear with us during these awkward pauses. Have a sip of beer. That's what I'm gonna do.
Oh, that's the one on me. Oh, hi. All right.
All right.
That was my officially first talk show walk-on.
I know. I really wanted it to feel special like that. You know, we have this awesome mural that Lonnie's got on the door, and I wanted to really feature that and really have a entrance kind of feeling. Okay, so Paul, here's the thing. I don't really know what I'm doing. I had this idea where musicians come on to this podcast / live stream, and we kind of just talk about. I mean, more or less, we talk about like just what we've been up to, how we've been getting through this crazy year. So I guess my first question for you is just like, how you doing?
Oh man, I'm as all right considering. That's always the question you get. How is everything going? Well,
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's amazing, but
I've answered like I've like used the phrase "all things considered."
Yeah,
probably like 8,000 times in emails.
That's the term. But as that goes, I mean, I think year in, at least I have a routine. I have things I do still now. Like I mean, I'm super lucky to have my teaching still going. So that's like the school that I teach from. We do online lessons, and so that's like my day is structured around that.
Nice.
Kind of. So at least that's a thing that I get to be like, yeah, that's what I'm doing today. That's the thing that I have. Yeah, which is definitely good.
Yeah, like I find like horn players when the pandemic first hit, and I don't know like how this developed for you, but I feel like horn players were in this unique position because I mean not everyone knows this, but playing a horn like a saxophone or a trumpet or whatever requires a lot of maintenance. Like in a way that like my fingers don't get like worse at playing the piano if I don't play the piano for a while. Really, like. At a certain point, like if I'm not practicing, I might get a little rusty. But you like literally become physically unable to play.
It gets harder as it goes. Yeah.
And I know a lot of horn players were just like, screw it. Like this is never going to happen again where I can just not play for 4 months. So that's what I'm going to do. Like what was your what was your attitude towards practicing? And stuff?
I had a uniquely like not great situation when the pandemic started. Was that essentially I was living in an apartment and I'd had years of conflict with the downstairs neighbors. They're not fans. They don't really like it. And I had
like things like music.
Yeah, like things like music and making sound and things like that. So so because of that, I had slowly transitioned to pretty much not playing at home at all. So I said once again, really great thing from my teaching gig is that I teach through the day and then I'd stay there like a couple hours afterwards and they just let me stay as long as I wanted to. And that would be where I make noise. And then I come home and I don't do it. So
pre-pandemic, like you had a practice space through your work.
Yeah, exactly.
Like suddenly went away.
Yeah, then that suddenly is gone, and so suddenly I'm back in the mix with these neighbors, and so it was harsh because even then I was like, what do I do? Like they're pounding on the floor and everything, and so it was pretty sad. Like I mean, in some ways I've always wanted to kind of work up some keys more, so that I use that as an excuse. So I ended up doing a lot of just like keyboard with the headphones on and stuff. But you can kind of only do that so long because it's not my main instrument. It's not an instrument I would ever perform anywhere. So to go back to even I had a couple things and then there'd be a couple of people ask me. I mean, I know you actually asked me do you want to record something? I'm just like, I can't. There's no way to do it.
I had that Christmas tune. I needed
a Christmas tune even.
I needed a honking sax on a Christmas tune.
Yeah. So then I couldn't do it. And even I did another video for one group, and partway through me recording 4 minutes of video, they banged on the floor. So that that kind of thing. So so at first it was a lot of keyboard, and I said it was pretty sad because especially saxophone of all the maintenance horns is probably the least crazy one in terms of time, but and also it being my main horn too.
Not
but
as bad as brass,
but flute is mean. Flute is a mean instrument. Yeah, if you don't play it, it's angry. It's very upset. Yeah.
Yeah, so, you're like a real doubler. I posted that video of you that you made the other day. Where you're playing a Charlie Parker solo on 6 different instruments.
So that was a pandemic project to keep me busy. Yeah. So then anyway, long story short, I my stages were just playing keyboard on headphones, and then when things opened up a little bit, I went to the Lynx isolation studio to at least a couple hours a week, just where I can play, actually play.
And you had to pay.
And I had to pay for it. Yeah, so I had to pay for it, and then eventually it was actually my amazing proactive wife that we moved to a different place. So we moved. So I'm in the East End now,
wow. And was the move was your situation in the pandemic the impetus for the move?
Not completely. I wouldn't say totally, but it was definitely it was an easy decision when that has it. So now I'm at a place I can play. I can make noise. I can teach whenever. So yeah. So it's that's pretty. And speaking of the brass, I do teach brass as well, and that was
really?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
You teach trumpet. And
I don't think I have the trombone skills you do, but yeah. So I teach trumpet and trombone and baritone, and I didn't even bring those to the house ever because I felt that was the point. At least I'm going to be at the house playing an instrument I'm good at, if anything.
Right.
So yeah. So now I can do all of those things, and I only annoy my wife now. So which is she signed up for it. So,
if that's the only collateral damage, that's
then that's pretty
seems
good.
Manageable.
Yeah. So that was kind of my progression. So through a year, it really changed a lot actually. Right. Yeah.
How did it feel not being able to play? Did it really suck, or were you because I know some people are actually finding it's I've been talking to musicians, and there's a lot of different reactions, and some people are like, man, it's weird, I don't miss playing, and then other people it's killing them.
I think because of I wasn't really allowed to made it so that I really wanted to. So I think it's one of those ones that if I had completely open, maybe I would have been you know what, it's fine. I don't have a gig to practice for, so it's I'll lighten up a little bit. But because I was I can't. So
playing saxophone for you was watching the WWF for me when I was 12.
Oh yeah, I'm not allowed. So
the minute I was allowed to watch it, I was oh, I don't like this at all.
Yeah, okay, hold on. I wouldn't go that far. I do like doing this. Still, hold on.
It's not totally that.
Yeah, but it's that thing where it's going that that way where it's I can't do it, so I now I feel worse that I can't do it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Totally. I mean, yeah, it's just it must have been hard, and it must have been frustrating to have to spend money when you were going to Lynx just to get to play your instrument.
Yeah. Even when we did so when I eventually did some sort of video things, we did one with the heavyweights, we did this brastronomical tune where you did the big van version where I'm the 5 saxes or whatever, and that one it's I had to go pay for studio space to do that recording. Right. It's to put it free on the internet. It's just that's just what that had to be able to do that. Yeah. But I mean, then again, Jeff is in the other room, and drummers do that all the time. So yeah.
like we did with our trio, like we were doing live streams every Wednesday, and then like the stay-at-home order of like Christmas happened, and we didn't stream for like 4 months. And we did one just a couple weeks ago, and Jeff was like, "This is the first time I played a bass drum in like 3 months." Wow. He has his practice pad at home, and like that's all he can really play.
Yeah, that's nuts. Yeah,
it's crazy. Oh man, I was just gonna ask you something. And now I lost it. This is hard. They make it look so easy on TV.
I'm sure dead air's fine. Nobody's there's nothing wrong with that. Right?
I mean, when I make the podcast, this is all just
yeah.
This is all gone. So if you're watching now, I'm sorry. But like I guess. Oh yeah, I remember. So what other things do you think you developed to kind of like get through this time?
So
like, have you like pursued some new hobbies or interests or?
Well, I think now, I mean, at least in terms of like the music related things, it is that home recording thing. Like that's something I never really delved into before. Like I was, spoiled in the way that like if I have to record something, I go to a recording studio and record it or Right. So now it's like I think that two input interface probably is repeatedly sold out at Long and McQuaid because it's like every horn player has it now because
like the Scarlett Focusrite.
That's the one.
I was talking to someone and they're like, we haven't been able to keep those on the shelf.
Yeah, there's so I got that and it's like I've never used Pro Tools before, so that's a thing. I mean I'm still awful at it, but I at least I know like how to record something on it, like at least in the simplest form. So that's a skill that I think I've learned like over just because I know you can't play for anyone if you don't know how to do that. So that's it. Yeah. There's just no way.
Like all these like weird skills that or like all these skills that like didn't used to be part of our job description have now become it. And like I wonder like even in the future like post pandemic, like I'm like what is this world going to be like where every musician has like passable production skills,
right where it's like they could do it.
Like I just is like is everyone gonna have a SoundCloud and like just I don't know, man, it's just all be there on that thing. So but I don't know, so it's like a thing I have now. It's the thing that works out, like I said, with the new place that I can actually make sound now, so I can it would made sense. It was one of those ones that maybe would have been a progression I would have done anyway, but this definitely forced me into like, well, you're gonna do this because what else are you gonna do? So it's always like, what is it, the necessity? Man, I've been through so many like just I have nothing to do and I'm at home and I'm just like, all right, maybe I can make a hip hop beat. Let's see if that's something I'm good at. And like, there's just been like.
Although I think there was some of that thing. That's an area where, composition wise, I haven't done that great over this year. And I feel like there was a post that I saw of yours that said that it's like for someone who writes compositions for people to jam over, like that, it's not that inspiring to not have anyone to jam over.
Yeah, it's like. I think I said something like it's like designing a house but no one's allowed to live in it. Right. It's like well why would I do that?
So I haven't written a lot of like things over that year, like not to the not that I wrote tons before, but the volume I did before was not like in this year because it just wasn't inspired in that way to do it. So
Speaking of your tunes, like the last like paid work I had before the first lockdown was when I guested on a track with Heavyweights. Paul is in a really great brass band called the Heavyweights Brass Band that everyone should check out. They have so this album we were making is going to be your third.
This
album?
Is the fourth actually.
Fourth album.
Yeah, fourth
nice.
album. Yeah.
And like I'm on it, so it's the first like legit one.
Robbie Botos was on an earlier one, but that doesn't count.
No, I mean, look, it's great that you found people who were willing to play on the earlier recordings. But like this time, I think this one's going to be the good one.
This one's the one, right? Yeah.
So that's another thing. I don't know how involved you are, but I know the other guys in Heavyweights, like during the pandemic, they've just been like, you've had way more time with the tracks to kind of just let the record get mixed and trial and error than probably you normally would have.
Yeah.
Where in a normal album cycle world, you probably would have released by now.
We would have,
toured by now.
Yeah, all those things. Yeah. So it is weird coming back to it because we actually did the thing like just pandemic wise. I think just we were so shocked because it was literally right before everything locked down. Like it was March 12th to 14th, like 2020. So it was. So everyone was kind of like just shocked from it and sort of dealing with their own things for quite a while. So I think where we normally would have, maybe 3 weeks later or something, we would have started to listen to the mixes. I think it was 2 or 3 or 4 months maybe even until we actually like, oh yeah, we should mix that. And it was weird coming back. So actually the tune, like the one of the ones we're going to do today, that tune was so chipper. Like it was like upbeat. And I'm listening back to it. I'm like, oh, I felt like that before.
It's also just funny because we were in the studio recording this like happy, jaunty tune, and meanwhile, like we're all just like getting an email every 5 minutes with like a new gig that's canceled or like a new like thing.
We thought of having like a bell in the studio where it was just like ding, like you hit it every time you lose a gig. Yeah.
That was like because that was Friday the 13th, I believe.
Yeah,
March 13th. So like a little bit over a year ago. And I remember, it was like 2 days before that was my last like live gig. And I remember like everyone got off stage after the first set and was like, oh, Tom Hanks has COVID. And
right.
Yeah. The NBA is canceled. Like, maybe we should get out of this crowded bar right now.
Right now. Maybe this is not the place you're supposed to be. Yeah.
And then, Friday we did that recording. And then like, it's been a different world ever since.
Yeah. So we are getting on it. We actually have it all mastered now, which is great. So we're just now the other tricky part is when do you release it? So I know there's like I guess different opinions on that. Like, do people have more time to listen to music now, or do you want to wait till you can actually play a show as a result of like releasing an album?
Well, because if you don't get to perform and tour, like you don't get as much out of your release. Yeah. The other thing on my mind too is I'm like, okay, like whenever we can hit the road again, like everyone is going to put out an album.
Right. Like everyone's holding off on one.
Everyone's
like,
sitting on a record right now. Like it's just going to be a crazy thing when it all comes
right. So that all just like all hits at once. Yeah. So that is true. So it's like, then it's good to do now, but then it's too far apart from when you'll be playing. So I don't know.
I think I'm finding it's so hard to know what the right choice to make is right now. And I feel like you're trying to predict where the pandemic is going to go. Even like doing this show, I was like, okay, it seems like we're allowed to do these kind of things again. I have this idea. I want to get it going. And like, and now we're slapped with this, stay at home order, and we might have to postpone all of the episodes after this.
Yeah.
So like, maybe this will be the only episode. Who knows?
Right.
Either way, we're doing our best to just kind of keep things going.
Right. Yeah, totally.
Well, talking about your music is probably a good segue to us getting to the performance portion of the show.
All right.
For anyone watching, I didn't explain the format. Here's the format. I talked to Paul for a bit. We're going to play some music. Then I'm going to go to the YouTube comment section for questions for Paul. So if anyone has a question for Paul, you can put it in the comment section. And Facebook too, if you're on Facebook. And Lonnie is going to pick 1 or 2 questions that he thinks sound interesting, and we're going to let the audience ask Paul a few questions after we play a little bit. So let's get Rich and Jeff back in here.
All right, move things.
Get this mask on. Lonnie gets to be a sound man. And by the way, you guys, we are doing all this for tips. So there's a link below where you can drop some money into our virtual tip jar. And if I keep doing this, I'm probably going to get a Patreon up too, but I don't have that right now.
Yeah. What are we playing first?
Why don't
you can do my Patreon? I know.
Screw your Patreon, Lonnie. No, you should support Lonnie's Patreon too. He does a lot of things on his YouTube channel, not just this. He streams all kinds of things. He streams old Grateful Dead shows and stuff. Some stuff's so rare and exclusive that no one's ever even seen it. And Lonnie's awesome. Why don't we start with the tune we were just talking about?
Yeah.
So this is a Paul Metcalfe original that he wrote for the Heavyweights brass band. And it's going to be on their upcoming release that comes out whenever it makes strategic sense to do so. And if you do listen to that one day, you'll also hear me playing organ. This is a tune called Sweet Polly's Boogaloo. All right, everybody. That's Paul Metcalfe on the saxophone and on the writing that song. Pretty sweet. And you should check out the Heavyweights Brass Band, even though their other previous releases are, don't have that JV bump. They're still worth checking out. Highly recommend it. And you're on Bandcamp and Spotify and all the things. Sweet. All right, let's do another one. We got a few things planned here. Let's do some Sly and the Family Stone now.
Should I do the intro thing?
Yeah, let's do the intro, you and me. We're going to let you all see how the sausages get made here. I have no problem with us like talking, being like, so what's going to happen? Like, I don't care. Yeah. So let's do the intro, you and me. And then I'll just count us in to the the song.
Yeah.
The main part of the song. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Brass Underdog by, I'm just going to keep the mask on. Hopefully people can hear me. All right, sweet. So, yeah, how about that tune? We're bringing you some of the best unrehearsed music this city has to offer, everybody. Speaking of which, so this next tune really kind of takes me back because we didn't talk about this in our interview. There was only so much time. But Paul and I are both from Winnipeg. And I actually knew Paul before I knew anyone in Toronto because I knew you when I was in high school. And I remember being at a jazz camp, and Steve Teray was my ensemble instructor. But for whatever reason, one of the days he just wasn't there, and you were there instead. Yeah. And you were just like, I'm your instructor today. Steve Teray is not here. And I remember I was like 17, and I was really trying to act like I knew a lot more things about jazz than I let on. And I remember at one point you were talking about monk, and you were like, and Joel, like, you know, show them an example of something monkish. And I had like no idea. Like I didn't, but I was like, I felt like I was like playing it cool with the guys who were in university. And I was like, so I had tricked you into thinking I was someone who would know, but I definitely had no idea. Anyways, this is a tune that kind of reminds me of jazz school days, like as the Joshua Redmond tune that you suggested we play. And I mean, I still love Joshua Redmond, but I listened to a lot of it back in those times. This is a Joshua Redmond tune called Jig a Jug. Is that good?
Yeah, that's cool.
You can.
One, two, three.
Nice, nice, very nice. All right, that was Jig a Jug by Joshua Redman. There's a... What am I doing? I said I keep the mask on. Come on. Okay. And yeah, everyone, that was really nice to play that with all of you. let's play another. We also talked about throwing Paul on some JV's Boogaloo. There's a few songs on my record that have sax, and you were like, screw those songs. I want to add sax to a song that doesn't have it, and I loved it. And we're gonna play our tune Duquesne Smile now.
Technically, I haven't heard you play it yet, so.
That's true, but I have great faith, great faith in all that's about to happen. So this is my tune Duquesne Smile featuring Paul Metcalfe. Do you remember that little intro?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah.
Let's go. Okay. I've been counting this in either too fast or too slow. A lot. Okay. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. I was hoping we'd just go full SNL there. Yeah.
Let's do it. You didn't put it at the end of the set.
That's true. Well, we can find a way to get another one of those in there. Sweet. All right. Well, I think it's time for the part in the show where we go to the internet comment section for maybe a fun question or two for Paul Metcalfe.
Oh, question.
Winnipeg native, Toronto resident, saxophonist, music educator extraordinaire, Paul Metcalfe. Lonnie, what do you got for us? What? Yeah, we got to do a little.
All right.
Okay, Lonnie. Lonnie, this is the family show.
We had a clean show going before.
Yeah.
See, that's why in between.
Yeah.
We're gonna release. It would be just like This American Life. If you'd like a beeped version of our show, like, yeah.
Paul, just give me a quick check.
All right,
I don't know who that. I
guys,
don't know how
it's
many
me
people
out
that joke
here
lands
answering
for.
questions. Is there anyone there? Is anyone watching?
Oh yeah, people are. I mean, I don't know for a fact, but yeah.
I assume there are people out
People
there
are-
on the internet right
People
now.
are on the internet right now,
Yeah.
out there.
Okay, I got a few questions.
Okay.
Okay, Lonnie.
First one is from Ryan Hill.
Okay.
What does most of the writing of... you have to repeat my question. They can't hear.
Okay.
What
We gotta
does
hear the
most
question.
of the writing of their songs, your band, is it collaborative from start, or one guy writes the bones and everyone comes up with the parts?
So yeah, basically the question was the
Yeah.
writing process for the Heavyweights brass band. How do you guys?
So
put
the
tunes
heavyweights,
together?
actually, it's not even just the bones. Like usually someone does write it individually completely first, and then we jam it out, and things maybe change like through the jamming. But yeah, I don't write parts for Lowell, our drummer. He I don't know how to write them, and he doesn't want to read them. So yeah, so that's.
But you would write, because you're like the Heavyweights are mostly horn players. Well, it's entirely horn players and a drummer, right?
Yeah, that is.
So,
yeah.
So like for example, you would probably write all of the horn parts.
Yeah.
Like
So
you'd
I
write RJ's bone part and the bass part and whatever, but you kind of let Lowell do his thing.
Yeah. I let Lowell. I give him like a general vibe, like this is the tune. But usually the second he hears the bass line, he's like, oh yeah, that's the
Right,
I'll do
yeah.
that thing. Yeah. So yeah, I'm on it. Yeah. So yeah, that's the system generally.
Great question. Let's
Woo.
get another one.
That was a good one.
Just like, has Paul ever heard of Dick Hextall Smith from the band Coliseum?
Oh, I haven't. No, I don't know Dick Hextall Smith.
That was from Ashbury from
Oh, sweet. Well,
All
I should
right.
check that out then.
Lonnie,
yeah.
we're looking for questions that could have interesting answers. Yes or no questions are not really what
That's all right.
what we're
I'm-
looking for.
I was into that. I'm going to check him out now.
Lonnie,
So
Lonnie, do you have a question for
Hey, Paul, tell the truth.
that's- Oh,
Have you ever played with these guys before?
what's that? Have I played with?
These guys before?
I haven't played with this band before, but I have played with all the individual players in different groups. Yeah, so I think that would be that
right.
would be what happens with
Look,
that.
if
yeah.
people are happy to just listen, then that's fine.
yeah,
too.
yeah, that's
Um,
cool.
But yeah, Paul and I have certainly done some gigs here and there, and I'm sure you've played with everyone like individually
Yeah,
once or
definitely.
twice. Because the thing about the music scene is, you're not just in one band. You're here and there, and you're on wedding gigs with people and different things. But you've played with JV's Boogaloo Squad, like
Oh
a
no, what am I
long
talking
time
about? We
ago.
did the Amy Winehouse thing.
But
with the
that
Rex.
Adam would
yeah.
have been on guitar,
Right.
not,
Oh yeah.
not
So it
Rich.
wouldn't have been the exact personnel.
But yeah, we once did an Amy Winehouse
Oh,
tribute.
that's true. I did play with this
And
group
you played
once. Yeah,
Barry sax
I
the
did
whole
all
gig, and it
Barry
was-
sax because Amy Winehouse, you can't not do Barry sax. That's actually the reason I bought the Barry sax because this. It doesn't sound as good on tenor. It's just
Yeah.
not that thing. That Barry, you have to. Yeah.
That was one of those gigs where I asked you, but because it wasn't like a big gig, like we were just gonna pass the hat and whatever, like I didn't feel like I could ask you to bring your Barry. Like,
Yeah.
it's really heavy, and I just felt like I just kind of was like, I'm gonna ask him to play saxophone. The gig doesn't really pay enough for me to tell him which saxophone to,
Right.
to play. But then you showed up with the Barry, and I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah. That's like you can't do the Amy Winehouse stuff without Barry.
Okay, well, why don't we do one more tune, you guys?
Yeah,
And then
all
maybe that'll be it for the very first 6 Feet From Stardom, which is what this show is called. And I want to thank everyone who checked it out and who liked Facebook posts and stuff. It's really hard to feel like motivated and like trying to do stuff matters. So any support, even just like a hey, I like that idea or whatever, it's all very helpful and great. And if you tipped, especially, thank you so much. for your virtual tips. They're going to musicians who need it. So thanks so much for that. Do you want to do Love and Happiness or Windjammer? What do you?
I don't know. What do you feel like? I think.
Let's do. Oh yeah, it's my show. I gotta make these. I gotta make these big decisions. Right. Okay. Let's do Windjammer. I think it'll be more like of a fun jam and stuff. Okay. I'm just gonna start it. This is a tune by the great Grant Green called Windjammer. Once again, check out Paul Metcalfe and the Heavyweights Brass Band. And I'm going to put out a post soon, let you guys know when the next time I'm going to do this is. The plan was to do it every Wednesday, but with the new Ontario rules, I don't know what's going to happen. But I'll let you know. Thanks so much for tuning in to the very first episode, season 1, episode 1 of 6 Feet From Stardom. Whenever the next one of these happens, it's going to be the great Joanna Majoko on vocals, and it's going to be super awesome. We got all kinds of awesome people lined up. Claire Davis, Tom Moffett, Alison Young. It's going to be dope, and we're going to figure out a way to do it safely and bring the music and the fun to all you people. So keep watching, and thank you.